Can we please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
And Chair Holloway, I did receive a notification of her absence this evening, so she will have an excused absence for the record. Member Rubin?
Here.
Member Carney?
Here.
Member Norman?
Here.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Member Oquendo?
Here.
Member Grigsby?
Here.
Member Rivera? And I received notice from Mr. Rivera that he might be running behind this evening. So we can note that if he shows up late.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum, and Ms. Grigsby will be a voting member this evening. Okay.
Okay, I call for approval of the last meeting's minutes.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
I second it.
We have a motion for approval from Ms. Dawn and a second from,
Carney.
from Ms. Tabitha and Ms. Dawn.
Ms. Grigsby, I believe, seconded
Yes.
the motion. Is that right?
Yes.
Ms. Grigsby, yep. Call for vote.
Call for vote.
All those in favor?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Anybody opposed?
Passes 5-0. Minutes are approved. Okay. Mr. Chairman, if I may, Jack Morgeson for the city. The items tonight, as you can see from your agenda, are related to some degree. Agenda items A and B deal with the Thompson Grove commercial, and agenda items C, D, and E are Center Ranch Lake Park parcel matters. And so staff would like to make presentation on the related cases together, if that's acceptable to the commission. If so, Mr. Chairman, you could call the cases together. In this instance, it would be calling the cases A and B together as jointly. Then the presentation could be made by applicant, anyone from the public, as well as staff, and then you would take each of the agenda items independently in your recommendations. All right? Okay. Thank you, sir.
So we'll be reviewing ordinance number 2021-25, DRK CPA 21-00002, and ordinance number 2021-26, DRC case ZMA 21-00002 together.
Okay.
Good evening, Jesse Anderson, Senior Planner for the City of St. Cloud. So our presentation's a little out of order, I apologize for that. All right, starting with CPA 21-00002, we have Thompson Grove Commercial, which is a comprehensive plan amendment for a small scale lot at approximately 9.99 acres. And staff does recommend approval for this ordinance, number 2021-25. For the background, the existing FLU is mixed use. The existing future land use is mixed use. The proposed future land use is commercial. The compatibility, we do find it compatible with the surrounding areas, and there are no adverse impacts to the city facilities. The growth management is our strategic goal that this does meet, with ability to create a vibrant, progressive, and diverse community through sustainable planning for all generations. And again, staff does recommend approval for ordinance 2021-25, and we are available for any questions. The Planning Commission is requested to make action according to the 16 findings on section 3.4.3.C.2.A of the LDC. And again, we do request approval of this ordinance 2021-25. Thank you. Oh, And then we'll move on to our next, which is Thompson Grove Commercial Zoning Map Amendment for ZMA 21-00002 for, again, Ordinance 2021-26 for approximately 9.99 acres of land. Again, staff is recommending approval for this ordinance. The existing zoning is mixed use. The proposed zoning district is going to be highway business with a future land use of future land use of commercial. I apologize for that error. And then, currently it is mixed use. Proposed future land use is commercial. Compatibility, again, it is compatible with the surrounding area, and there's no adverse impact to the city facilities. And once again, meets the growth management goal of to create a vibrant, progressive, diverse community through sustainable planning for all generations. Once again, staff does recommend approval for Ordinance 2021-26. And Planning Commission is requested to make action according to the 16 findings of the LDC in Section 3.4.3.C.2.A. Thank you.
Is the applicant present who would like to speak?
Yes.
State your name and address, please.
Leonard Thompson, 6815 Old Melbourne Highway, St. Cloud, Florida. And I can answer any questions, or staff can answer questions. He's pretty much presented this as it's proposed.
May I ask, what are they going to do with it?
Don't know.
Oh,
What has happened, it was originally put through with the residential portion as all mixed use, and as we've discovered that less than 10 acres or a parcel that small is not conducive for mixed use commercial. And the original, before it was annexed into the city, the original land use was commercial through the county already. But when the development went through for the residential, it was put in together, and so now we're separating that commercial parcel out because the residential has been sold and is being developed. And I've retained the commercial.
Any other questions from committee? Okay. Let's open it up to the public, please. Anybody that comes up, please, if you fill out the card, please, and give it to Ms. Jessie.
Yes, sir. Next to the podium. And I don't have a card. Just need you to fill that one out after your presentation, sir, and then you can leave it with our clerk. Thank you.
State your name and address, please.
M.G. Lamont II, and my property butts up to the commercial part he's going to build. I'd just like to know what he's going to put on it, other than the fact it's commercial. What kind of commercial?
At this time,
Sir, just come to the microphone so we can keep it on the record. I understand. Thank you.
Leonard Thompson, owner, applicant. At this time, I don't have an exact plan for it. As I stated, as in compliance with the city or in agreement with city staff and planning, it's not conducive for mixed use, which would have a residential component, would require a residential component in it. And we're just strictly want it for highway business, so it can be developed as any type of business that would meet the city planning code.
Is all the entrances and exits going to be on the highway?
Sir?
Yes. Yes, the infrastructure that's being put in now, it's serviced by the same infrastructure. That main thoroughfare that's going in where, I believe, Mr. Lamont, where your house goes, where it turns into the residential. So you're at the very back end of it. And there's the retention pond is between the commercial and the residential.
Mr. Chairman, sir, if you could just wait one moment. The way this should probably work is, sir, you should make your questions known to the commission and then afford the applicant time to respond to the commission about the questions you've raised and addressed to the commission. But it's not going to be efficient. We're not going to get it on the record if you're not doing the microphone, nor can the commission hear a clarification as to what's being discussed.
First of all, I didn't get a notice about the meeting, the commission. This is coming on. The neighbor down the street.
Sir, you're going to have to speak into the microphone. You can take your mask down so you can speak in the microphone. We can hear what you're saying.
I didn't get a notice about the commission meeting, the zoning or anything about it. Yesterday, lady lives 3 doors down, stopped me and asked me if I was coming. I said, where? And she told me, so I just want to know what they're going to build there, and the road, I know they're putting a road in, and I need more information about it, and I thought that's what this would be about. Tell us what he's going to do. His being my property's right behind his there, so.
Okay.
This is, Mr. Chairman will explain, this is a case addressing the future land use and zoning, which are fairly broad matters, and those are the extent of what's being heard by this commission. It's an advisory commission. The commission's going to be making recommendations to the city council on these applications. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Can I
Sir, of course.
respond to Mr. Lamont?
Sure.
When we submitted the plan through the city, the construction plans were for the residential. There were no construction plans done on the commercial. It was left blank purposely because we didn't know what we were going to do with it. But it's because it was put through with the residential, it now has to be separated out. And rather than a mixed use, which is how it was lumped in with the residential, which required residential component in the commercial, which is not conducive on 10 acres, so I'm just requesting that we change it back to just highway general or highway business. But there's no construction plans, no development plans right now on it. Thank you.
Mr. Jeff Shepner?
Okay, I'm Jeff Shepler, 2209 Spring Lake Circle. I represent myself as well as my parents who live at 2191 Spring Lake Circle. The change of zoning isn't really surprising because from the beginning we kind of understood it was going to be commercial. But I would like to task you guys with holding the city council accountable. When the development of the residential portion was done, we dealt with dust, and I'm finally getting my pool cleaned out after chlorine, cleaning it. Our patio was black. They didn't keep the dust down. The one day the wind blew lovely from the northeast, all the dust came to our house, so we couldn't do it. So you guys need to make sure that the city council holds the developer responsible for the front part because we don't want to deal with dust. When I called the city, I got the runaround. Oh, you got to talk to this person. You got to talk to this person, trying to get somebody to come out and water it. This was Good Friday, the Friday before Easter. And then I had to leave, but I don't know if anybody ever came out and put adequate water on. The guy said, the contractor said he would put an order in. Well, it wasn't going to happen until Monday. But I want to task you guys in holding the city council accountable for monitoring what takes place on the property. It doesn't matter which way the wind is blowing. There should be no dust moving at all. It was so thick we could hardly see halfway across that property. Another thing is I haven't seen any city code people out there. They dug the retention ponds on the property behind my house, and they had the pumps that lower the water level. That water was running down the ditch that's at the driveway behind my house. My understanding was that was supposed to go into some temporary retention ponds, but it was running down the ditch. So the city has to monitor what takes place on the property. As far as, and they also need to look at mixed use and commercial. The city has it all screwed up. It's going to have it residential or commercial. This mixed use is a waste of time. We wanted the property behind us to be a similar neighborhood. It's not. The city wanted entry-level housing. Lake Nona doesn't have entry-level housing. Windermere doesn't have entry-level housing. So you guys all need to think about that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, and is the road going to be directly from that property to the highway and not cut through the Poffenball property?
The commission's not here to answer those questions, sir. They'll take your feedback, but that would be a question for staff or for the applicant. It's not here for the commission to give you answers on that.
So the applicant's here.
He can answer it now.
Yep, he certainly can.
Leonard Thompson, owner applicant. There is no access to the Poffenball property. Hate to turn my back to you, but I got to talk to this thing. And so that is totally unaffected by that. The entryway and infrastructure that's being put in now is the infrastructure to the commercial on the front and the residential on the rear. So it's one and the same boulevard.
192 only.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, just for the benefit of the public too, these items are going to be coming before council for first reading, as I understand, on Thursday, May 13th, before City Council. So anyone that wishes to be heard at that time may want to attend that meeting, or at least to see those matters discussed at that time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else from the public would like to come up? At this time, we'll close it to the public. Anybody on the council have any questions?
Mr. Chair, just real quickly, I spoke with council and he said I could converse, but I'll be abstaining from any vote on these two items.
If I could, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Norman has identified a conflict with regard to, or a potential conflict with regard to these two agenda items, and he's going to be abstaining from participating in any vote on any recommendation on these cases. The four of you will still obviously move forward.
Any questions?
Doesn't matter.
Okay, let's take a vote.
Well, Mr. Chair, you asked for some discussion, or if not, then you'd call for a vote. That's exactly right.
Let's call for a vote on future land use amendment for ordinance number 2021-25.
Is DRC case CPA 21-00002. Agenda item A.
Does anybody have a motion?
I would like to make a motion to recommend approval of resolution number 2021-25, DRC case CPA 21-00002, based on the 6 factual matters within land development.
Thank you, Ms. Grigsby. Yeah, the 16 findings in the land development code.
16
Yes,
findings,
ma'am.
sorry.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody second it?
I'll second it.
So we have a first with Ms. Grisby and a second with
We have a
Mr.
motion to approve, a recommendation to
Motion
approve from Ms. Grigsby,
Grigsby.
second from Ms. Rubin. Then you could ask for any discussion or call for a vote.
Call for a vote. Anybody, all in favor?
Aye.
Nobody object?
Any nays?
No nays.
Okay, one abstain, so it passes 4-0. 4-0 approved. Recommended for approval.
Item B, zoning map amendment, DRC case ZMA 21-0002, ordinance number 2021-26.
I would like to make a motion to recommend approval of ordinance number 2021-26, DRC case ZMA 21-00002, and to transmit the Florida Department of is that right? Based on the 16 findings within the land development code.
I'll second.
We have a first for Ms. Grisby and a second for Ms. Tabitha. Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No one opposed.
Recommendation passes 4-0, with Mr. Norm abstaining on items A and B.
Okay, coming up now is ordinance number 2021-13, DRC case ANX 20-0004, voluntary annexation. We will be hearing that also with ordinance number 2021-14, DRC case CPA 20-00004, future land use map amendment, large scale, and ordinance 2021-15, DRCK ZMA 20-00005, zoning map amendment.
Good evening, Jesse Anderson, Senior Planner. So the first of these three cases is for the annexation of Center Lake Ranch Park parcel for ANX 20-00004, Ordinance 2021-13. It is for approximately 13.57 acres of land, and staff does recommend approval for this annexation. For the background, we do have this parcel as contiguous and reasonably compact. We do have a signed petition from all property owners, and the parcel itself does abut the city limits on the northern, southern, and western property boundaries. The existing future land use is low-density residential in the county. Its existing zoning is AC, agricultural development and conservation, also in the county. We do find it compatible with the surrounding area, and there are no adverse impacts to city facilities. The strategic planning goal that it associates with is growth management, which is to create a vibrant, progressive, and diverse community through sustainable planning for all generations. Staff does recommend approval of Ordinance 2021-13, and the Planning Commission is requested to make action according to the 16 findings of Section 3.4.3.C.2.A of the Land Development Code. Our next case would be the comprehensive plan amendment for this property in question. It is a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment for Center Lake Ranch Park parcel. Again, this is for approximately 13.57 acres of land for Ordinance 2021-14, and staff again does recommend approval. The existing future land use, once again, is low-density residential in the county. The proposed future land use is mixed use in the city. The compatibility is once again found conducive with the surrounding area, and there are no adverse impacts to the city facilities. The growth management is our goal again, to create a vibrant, progressive, and diverse community through sustainable planning for all generations. And once again, staff does recommend approval of Ordinance 2021-14 for the Planning Commission to have a requested action according to the 16 findings of Section 3.4.3.C.2.A of the Land Development Code. And our final case is ZMA 20-00005 for Center Lake Ranch Park parcel, the zoning map amendment. According to Ordinance 2021-15, the zoning map amendment is to become mixed use, and we do recommend approval again from staff for 2021-15, which is approximately for 13.57 acres of land. The existing zoning, once again, is agricultural development and conservation, AC County. Its proposed zoning is mixed-use city. Future land use is low-density residential county with a proposed future land use of mixed use. Compatibility, again, is once again found conducive with the surrounding area, and there is no adverse impacts to city facilities. The growth management is our goal, one more time, to create a vibrant, progressive, and diverse community through sustainable planning for all generations. And lastly, our staff does request approval of Ordinance 2021-15 for the Planning Commission to make action according to the 16 findings of Section 3.4.3.C.2.A of the Land Development Code. Thank you.
I have a question.
Yes.
When a property is designated as agricultural and conservation, and they're wanting to be annexed into the city, what is the city doing to offset that conservation land? I mean, we're running out of property. Like, God doesn't make more land. So what are we doing to offset? I understand they're just asking for annexation. I'm just asking for my information. What are we doing to offset if we're changing that zoning?
Offsetting is not something I want to directly address. What I would rather address is the fact that we have code requirements according to the landscaping that will keep a certain amount of landscaping in the area, which is conducive with the mixed use according to different place types. So we'll have a certain amount of civic, public, open space that's required per place type inside of a mixed use plan. And that's how we go about trying to have as much conservation and open space as possible inside of this type of district.
You're saying, excuse me, to recoup
The
the conservation that would be lost on this parcel would be?
More to minimize it and make the type of development as effective as possible. So we're trying to intensify and create more density, which will reduce the amount of land that's actually enveloped through the developing process. We're trying to reduce the urban sprawl. I'm sorry, do you have another question?
No,
Maybe the applicant.
I'm trying to contain, for you saying that we're trying to reduce the urban sprawl, I just feel like our development is out of control in the city as it is. I understand this particular piece is just asking to be annexed into the city. From what I can tell, it's already in an enclave, and it looks like there are several enclaves in that area. So I guess that's just where I'm going with that. My question is, what are we doing as a city, since our, we're trying to, how did you put it?
We're trying to intensify our development.
Well,
and make
I'm
it more
just,
compact.
I'm just concerned. I'm just concerned. So, that was just my question.
Okay.
So.
Is the applicant available or want to speak? Maybe she can answer your question.
Joe Thacker, 17 South Orlando Avenue, Kissimmee, representing the applicant. So I'd like to kind of address your question in another way.
Okay.
If this stayed in the county has the land use of low-density residential. The county would allow it to be zoned low-density residential as well. So they have a minimum of 3 units per acre. So you would end up, if it stays in the county, at 13 times 3 as a minimum. What the applicant is proposing tonight is that this piece be annexed into the city, that it be, the comp plan be amended so it becomes part of the mixed use, which is known as Center Lake Ranch. This piece is going to be a park. It's going to be a passive park. So it's going to have trails and places to have picnics. So it's going to add, actually, open space to the city instead of the possibility of it having a bunch of houses on it if it stayed in the county. So I think that this one actually does what you want it to do.
Right, okay. And I wasn't asking what the plans were. I understand this is just an annexation.
Right.
I just, because it is going from an agriculture conservation and being annexed into the city, which does change the zoning, so I'm just asking staff, just for my own general knowledge, because I think we have a tendency to just, stamp everything that comes across, and I just want to make sure that we're, like this particular piece, like we're doing the right thing.
Right. And the
So-
other thing, when you have this type of development in a mixed use where it's a little bit bigger usually, you do have requirements for open space, and it does allow the city to plan better, to be able to serve that. When you just have, a subdivision come in, they have their own little park and that's it.
Yeah.
But when you have a big development like this, it gives you that opportunity to plan and to do some things that work for the citizens and make it worth it, to have a park this big.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me,
And I'm
Ms.
happy to answer any questions.
Yes, do we have anything here, staff or Ms. Thacker, that shows where this lies in the whole Center Lake
If you go,
development? I mean, I know I have this, but that just shows me,
so
kind
if
of
you
a-
go back to one of the, I can click, thank you.
I know this Center Lake Ranch is quite large, but where does this sit in that
Okay,
whole
wait a
picture?
second. Am I going the wrong way? Okay, got it.
Okay.
Keep going? Okay. Actually, there's a better picture. That's what I want to get to. Okay, the pink-brown is Center Lake.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yep, so this is, as you can, so it's kind of in the middle of all of it.
But it's on the west edge of it.
Well, that whole thing goes, it's,
All the pink, even the pink to the left of it is Center
Uh-huh.
Lake?
yep.
So the yellow is future Center Lake or not ever going to be Center Lake?
Well, it depends. Those
on
parcels
play
are
right
owned
now.
by individuals, so I don't,
So the one to the east of that parcel, that's still an individual, or is that owned by the Center Lake developer?
the yellow,
The yellow to the right of what we're looking at,
that is owned by individuals.
still? Okay.
Yes, it is.
So
It's
just
still
a-
an enclave.
It is.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions for the applicant? Okay.
Thank you.
I just have one question, not that it really pertains to this, but when does groundbreaking take place on Center Lake Ranch? Do you know that at all?
I think they are trying to get the roads approved, the construction plans for the roads. So that's where they are right now.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you.
I don't have a question for the applicant, but maybe it's for staff. Just for my education, what is the benefit of annexing into the city? Is it a greater benefit for the city and less of a benefit for when it was in county? Just a little, if you can.
Well, in terms of it being annexed into the city, it then becomes a taxable parcel for the city, so we can actually earn tax base off of it. They could have gone through a period of time where they could have gotten water and sewer from the city. I'm not saying this property did, but I'm just saying in general. And at that time, it cost the city a lot more, so annexing them into the city, we do get that tax base back.
Any other questions?
I have one. The police station's gonna have to answer their calls out there in Center Lake, all the way from town, and the fire department.
There's
A
going to
long-
be one in Center Lake.
A substation?
Joe
Is there?
Thacker, there is a fire station that will be in Center Lake. The other thing, your question, Ms. Grisby, that when it came forward for annexation, there was actually an impact study presented that showed the benefit both in the taxes and other things. So this pays for itself and actually generates more taxes than what it costs to provide the services. So that was done when the big pieces were annexed into the city.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, the big piece is already city, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, we'll be closing it and opening it to the public. Anybody from the public would like to speak? Nobody from the public. Any other questions from committee? So we'll be moving forward for ordinance number 2021-13, DRC case ANX 20-0004, voluntary annexation. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval for ordinance 2021-13, based on the 16 findings within, for annexation, based on the 16 findings within the Land Development Code.
I'll second it.
We have first from Ms. Rubin and a second
Ms. Carney?
from Ms. Carney. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Approved 5-0, sir.
We'll be moving now to ordinance number 2021-14, DRC case CPA 20-0004. Any motions?
I'll make the motion. I'd like to make a motion to recommend approval of ordinance number 2021-14 to transmit to the Florida Department of Economic Opportunity for interagency review based on the 16 findings within the Land Development Code.
Second.
So we got a first from Ms. Tabitha and a second from Ms. Dawn. All in favor? Anybody opposed?
Passes 5-0.
Next is ordinance 2021-15, DRC case ZMA 20-0005 zoning amendment. Any motions?
I'll make the motion. I'd
I'll
like to make a
second it.
motion to recommend approval of ordinance number 2021-15, based on the 16 findings within the Land Development Code.
Second.
So we have a motion for nomination to go forward with Ms. Tabitha and a second for Ms. Grisby. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed?
Passes 5-0.
Sir. Any other business? Meeting adjourned.
Guess you didn't have any other business, huh?
Jesse?
No?